Hi, Alain.
Hello.
Welcome to your fitting room.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, I won't ask an introduction about you because everyone in our audience knows you.
Thank
You
you.
know, you have been long years serving one of the biggest conglomerates in this region, if not the biggest, and everyone knows Alain Bejjani. It's a pleasure to host you
Thank you.
today.
Very kind of you.
I'd like to know a bit more about Next.
Yes.
Next was a surprise for people like you that serve you and your team for many years, and I've been having quite good feedback from ex-colleagues that already read it. Why?
Well, I start the book with basically a question: why this? Why now? Because I thought everyone. I mean, I'm not an author by profession, so people naturally will ask you, as you say, why. And I think two reasons mainly. One is because I deeply believe that CEOs should write more. I think that there is a lack, especially in the Middle East in general, about CEOs writing books, which is something that you find very often in the US. I think part of positively contributing to progress is for leaders to actually share their knowledge, their experience, their views about the world, which I think, and basically, business, is at the intersection of everything. In business, I mean, you're a business leader and you know that better than anyone else. In business, you have to deal with the reality, the raw reality as it is, as good and as bad as it is. You have to deal with the impact of policy. You have to deal with psychology and the impact of people themselves, and they have to deal with basically unforeseen events. And you have, with all of these things, you have to also succeed and make money and positively contribute to all your stakeholders. And I think a role of a leader is to actually share those capabilities to others, to inspire them. Some people might find it inspiring, some people might find it not so inspiring, and that's okay. People simply will learn from what others do. And because business is so important in life and so meaningful to what we do, I think that business leaders have a role to play in progressing societies, and that is through the partaking positively in the debate. What you're doing today, this podcast, and other forms of contributing, I think are very important, and I think we should do more of that. So this is why I wrote.
Thank
Next.
you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. We all witness your shift of Group CEO Majid Al Futtaim. Long-serving, fantastic results, going silence for a while, resting, I'm sure, and then coming back as entrepreneur, Shark Tank, and looking at fostering new companies and the young generation, etc. How was this shift coming from a big corporation to the small, companies, trying to help them, to feed them, to guide them? How was this shift?
Very interesting and challenging in a way, because you learn a lot in the corporate world. You learn a lot by interacting with colleagues, with teams, with customers. You learn a lot when you drive things at scale. And that's a very different experience than entrepreneurship and the ability to build something from scratch and, of course, to scale it. So it's a big learning curve, and for me it's also a learning curve because and that's why I find it interesting, because that's something that I'm adding to my register. When I left MAF, I wanted to basically do two things. One is do more thought leadership. That's something that I like a lot, and this is why I wrote Next, and I do a lot of thought leadership, and I will continue to do that. And two, I wanted to actually become master of my own schedule. And I think this is a very rare form of luxury that not everyone has, is the ability to actually decide what to do, when to do, and basically just be your own boss.
Indeed.
In as much as you can. And I was I mean, very lucky and very privileged to serve Majid Al Futtaim for the years I served Majid Al Futtaim. But yet, I felt that I really wanted to do something that is more for me, and but can still be as meaningful as interesting. So, going back to investing, to basically advising, and Shark Tank, etc. It's extremely interesting because you see the challenges of people on their day-to-day when they don't have scale, where they don't have capabilities, where they only have themselves to really grow their business. They only have their thinking to grow their business, while they also need to grow themselves personally as entrepreneurs, because people that have had many years of experience, some of them are turn also entrepreneurs. I mean, like you, for example. But some other people need to learn it as they go. So the business they are leading, whether it's a small startup or still an idea that they're trying to develop, this is the biggest business they've ever led in their lives.
Fantastic.
So they are really operating at kind of the edge of their capabilities.
Absolutely.
And I think this is where mentoring can be helpful, not only to open door to guide them through the way, but also simply to give them the opportunity of an experienced sounding board. Sometimes they should not listen to our experience because not everything is a repeat of the past. Sometimes there is this pattern recognition that you have as someone who has had some rounds that actually is very helpful for people to be able to avoid the mistakes that others have done and to build and to build on them.
No, it's fantastic. The life of these small investors is doing a lot with very little.
Yeah, absolutely.
And surviving, trying to,
and sometimes with nothing.
With nothing. And people believe that, no, they are trying to survive, but they have lots of cash. No, there are many startups, they survive by the day.
Absolutely.
And they fight each day for the opportunity of next day.
To be there the day after. Absolutely.
Yeah. Good point. Look, I'm sure you heard about Atelier Digital AI.
Yes.
They are focused on retail tech AI, mainly retail, let's say, technology that is meant to be supporting retailers to be more efficient, and particularly the ones on apparel. Mm-hmm. How do we see this evolvement, this innovation coming in the sector of the retail? All these VTOs, the sizing tools, all these impacts in business. How do you see the opportunity?
I mean, look, if you want to have, I would say, a realistic view about the retail landscape today and the fusion of technology in retail, I think there is. It's kind of a tale of two or three cities, if you want. One is everyone sees the opportunity and the importance of it. Sadly, very few are ready for it. I think this is where the big problem is. If you talk to people, if you read what people are doing, you see that you have something like about 90 or 92% of retailers that are saying that will invest more in technology, in AI-related technology, etc. Now, when you look at how many are ready for these investments, the estimates are about 1%. Because succeeding in infusing technology in your business, the way we're talking about, is not only about money. And it's not only about cost cutting and efficiency. It's really about being able to change the mindset of the people, so reinvesting in people, and two, to be ready to actually change the way you go about things. And that is all the way from supply chain, all the way to actually the customer experience. I think stores are becoming more than ever experiential. I think the role of stores going forward is just experience. And I think that experience is extremely important because this is where the brands come to life and will continue to come to life. We had many conversations. I think you remember 10 years ago now, talking about what's the future of the store. Is it going to be an exhibition space? Is it going to continue to be basically
I'm still working on that.
Exactly, the traditional store function, which was, a store was in reality, I would say, a warehouse, just done in a nicer way. So you put your stock there, people come in, they see something, they like it, they transact. Now the store is is basically the place where people come to experience the brand. Eventually they transact, that's not important. They can transact wherever they want. I think the phygital dimension is more true than ever today. But also, when you think about technologies, you think about AI, you see that about 65% of people trust AI for comparisons. So, which is a huge number. 65% trust AI for comparison, but only 14 trust AI for purchases.
Yeah, execution.
So I think we have still a way to go, but actually this conversion is becoming faster and faster and faster. We are seeing how much technology-related apparel are selling much faster than others. Whether it's, smart glasses. Smart glasses are, I think, in 2026 going to be multiplied by 4 in terms of their sales. The estimates are for 26. Or if you look, for example, at secondhand or pre-loved apparel. Okay, this is also improving drastically. So what this is telling you, you've got the middle brands that are being squeezed. Okay, you've got the brands at the bottom of the value chain that are actually getting better and better at what they are doing, and they are kind of pushing prices up. And you've got the luxury brands that are also trying to push down, and the ones in the middle are being squeezed by the two. And I think a big differentiator is going to be how do you infuse technology, and how are you able, as a brand, to accompany the client and to be where the client is. You remember we had this thing about when we were talking about digital transformation in the past, and the goal was to be as prominent digitally as you are physically.
Correct.
I think this is mostly possible today, or possible today more than ever before, because the technology has gotten much better. The transaction capabilities are getting much better, and the AI technology helps you to do things that would have never been possible before. So you can't anymore, in my opinion, rely on cost cutting in the back of the house. So cost cutting in your supply chain, or basically in your fulfillment, is not going to be a differentiator anymore. The differentiator is going to be more in the front of the house.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying you should keep that or forget about that. No, but I think the biggest differentiator for fashion is going to be in the front of the house. And on the other side, if you really take that into account, you realize, okay, fine, I'm going to have all of that. I'm going to be able to drive some pricing. I will still do a lot of efficiencies. That AI dividend that we call, okay, where am I going to be? What am I going to do with it? Am I going to take it to actually, for it to basically go all the way down to the bottom line, which I would say a lot of people, in my opinion, will want to. A lot of shareholders will want to, legitimately. I personally believe that reinvesting some of the AI dividend in people is going to make or to give brands their biggest edge for future relevance. Because you need to actually accompany your people in order for them to have the right mindset, the right capabilities to go forward. So some of these savings or some of this premium that you're going to be able to do either on the front of the house or the back of the house has to be reinvested in your people. I think the brands that will do that will be the winners of tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well said. Look, we see example with this service, the impact they have in the P&L of each tenant.
Of course.
Vitor Hugo, our CEO, one of the things he did at the beginning with the sales team was why we should be relevant for each one of our potential partners. And they developed a chart showing by each $1 million sales, which will be line by line the impact of our service.
Yeah.
You have cart abandonment more than 80% in average. You have return rates over 50%. You have engagement very, very low, and we can increase more than 50% the early engagement. You have the sustainability coming from the returns.
Yes.
That you can fix as well, etc., etc., etc. In total, in all the KPIs, I remember to see this with the team. For each $1 million sales, they can give back to the P&L bottom line more than 20%.
This is huge.
is huge number.
course.
And you know what I've been witnessing when I speak with big retailers globally, and there is, as you well said, there is this appetite, this curiosity about they want to explore, etc. But when this is nailed down, many times we feel that there's still inside of many corporations lots of resistance to the change.
Of course.
No adoption to the new tools, no adoption to the new technology, and that is the main challenge they are facing. As you well said, many of these people needs to be reconverting, doing other jobs, or looking to a different company, because the future is today, is not tomorrow. The future is today. Or they update their game, or they will be out of the market. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think, you're right. I think this is a great example of what I was trying to say, which is basically brands reinvesting in people. The change, technology adoption, or basically infusion, what I call infusion in the offline business, or what we call phygital, is conditional on people's mindset changes and people not being resistant to change, so open to learning and trusting. This is why we had done the Leadership Institute at the time and the School of Analytics and Technology, because it's so important. Before you get to technology, your people should, one, understand it, two, accept it, and basically adapt to it. Otherwise, what you're going to have is you're going to invest on one side, on one hand, and the other hand is going to basically, not unknowingly, sometimes is going to simply basically cut those efforts. So this is why I think investing in your people is so important. But also, what I want to tell you on sustainability, I think it's a very important point, because you're talking about efficiency, you're talking about cutting or basically driving up engagement and cutting returns and so on and so forth. You know that starting July this year, now this month, in Europe, the apparel industry, the fashion industry is not going to be allowed anymore to destroy basically stocks.
Billions of.
So you're talking about, because the emissions, the CO2 emissions of those are equivalent to what Sweden emissions are on a yearly basis. So now this need is even stronger, because in the past, the solution was to simply basically destroy stock. Okay. Now you cannot destroy that stock anymore. And this is going to drive, I would say, a number of behaviors. One is the way sales are going, the importance of conversion is going to drive through the roof. The importance of basically reducing returns is going to drive up the roofs and drive through the roof. And I think every solution like what you have is going to be even more and more, I would say, needed, by retailers, in order to make sure that they prevent getting at the end of their season with actually too big of a stock to manage. So I think all the brands are going to have very clear KPIs on how we can reduce basically the stock that anyway we cannot dispose of the way we were disposing of before.
Look, all my life I was very much focused on data. But under your leadership, I remember very well, my attention to data grew a lot. And even today, in our ventures, in this case, Atelier Digital AI, one of, as we speak, main focus of the team is about how do we translate all this data that we are getting.
Absolutely.
And how can we do better for our partners? How can we do better and be more efficient also to the world? And bringing this, as the example you just said, about the excess of stocks.
Yes.
This is relevant, but still, from my perception, that many companies still very, vocal about data and so on, but still doing very little. That
Absolutely.
means they don't know what they should do with their data, and they don't have their data clean.
Yeah.
That means they take decisions sometimes without having the right samples in terms of data. How do you think this will fix?
Well, this is all about leadership. This is why Next, I think, is important, not only in terms of contribution, but also in terms of people. What Next is about is really about leading in the era of what I call the 4 new realities: volatility, AI, sustainability, and talent. So this is a perfect example that a business leader and the government leader actually in most countries are now being faced with. You have a huge technology revolution, I would say, and of capabilities that are coming your way. You have a huge displacement of work and talent that also is at risk. You also have volatility. Your supply chain is getting volatile. The world is volatile. Tariffs, other things that happen every day. And you have sustainability. We just gave the example of the EU changing the rules on disposal of stocks to cut CO2 emissions. I mean, these are not theoretical things. These are things that a leader in any business anywhere in the world is facing with today. So how do you deal with that? How do you lead people in this era of these continuously changing realities? And I think this is the crux of leadership. It's your ability to actually drive your people in order to turn vision into reality. And that's leadership. Now, turning vision into reality requires, one is working towards your team buying into your vision. So strategic clarity is very important. And what you just mentioned, a company that says, okay, technology is coming, there is so many things, people, decision makers or C-suite people sit in a room and they got consultants or suppliers that come and basically tell them, look, I've got this fantastic solution. It looks very appealing. They have the money to do it. They say, okay, we're going to do it. And then they go, it just makes sense to do it. They can also quantify the bottom line improvement that they will do. The only thing that actually they do not take into account is the impact of talent. Is between this vision of saying, okay, I've got this technology, it's going to give me, let's say, a 20% increase in my bottom line, and making it happen is where leadership comes in.
Absolutely.
And the only thing that they do not take enough into account is one, assessing how ready their organization is, and two, assessing the level of resistance that people are going to face, are going to basically put forward in the organization. And here, leaders have to actually do what they do best, which is basically drive their teams to, one, understand what it's doing, but also ready them. People have to be mentally ready to adopt new technologies. Today, more than ever, people see AI, okay, before it was digital, now it's AI. People see AI as a threat to their jobs, to their very being. So people have to be trusting where they're going with this. Today, companies are asking sometimes people to train AI to replace them. So, fine. I think it makes a lot of sense to adopt technology. You cannot, in fairness, not adopt this technology, because you also have to be fair to all your stakeholders, to your customers, to your shareholders, etc., but also your employees. Absolutely. But then how do you do that, and how do you get your employees to understand why they are doing this, what's in it for them if this happens, and how they can actually benefit from it? It cannot be a win-lose relationship. And some of the lack of adoption is coming from fear and people trying to kind of kick the can and push this thing that they know is coming. And some other is coming simply because of culture. This is how we do things here. It will not work. It doesn't work in this industry. This is good for another industry. This is good for another brand, etc. All the stuff that we all have heard.
Absolutely.
And again, it comes down to leadership.
Thank you. Fantastic advice. Alain, closing, which will be your advice for the CEO of Atelier Digital AI, and which will be your advice for the investors, for the shareholders of Atelier Digital AI regarding the future?
Well, I think you are definitely, digital AI, Atelier Digital AI is, in my opinion, definitely in where you should be. Basically at the crux of bringing technology to actually where it can be used in a practical way by the customer, and driving efficiency, but also productivity for the brands. And this is, in my opinion, the sweet spot. Having a technology that customer appreciate and would want, and also having a technology that brands need and will also want because actually they see the benefit of it immediately. It's not something that you adopt and you say, okay, we have to wait 1 year to see. You see it in the next sale. I think, and that's very important. It's like some games when you hit the ball, if you hit it well or not. You don't need to wait until the ball reaches the other side. If it was a good hit or a miss. And I think so. This is a technology that's really there. Now, of course, it's a technology. It's a space that is crowded. There is a lot of people that are trying to do the same because of this low-hanging fruit that I just described. My advice is to keep at it and do it. The only thing that is going to change is you're going to have more and more brands that will want your business and more brands that will get adoption. And in my opinion, a big part of your role as Atelier Digital AI is not only to drive technology adoption in terms of sales of technology, but also adoption through learning and through explaining and through putting people through the advantages and basically the upside of what you are bringing to them. And what you said, I think is very important about data. It's very important for people to see and to be able to quantify how it's going to impact them. Absolutely. The other side of this pendulum is also to partner with the brands in order to basically drive awareness and make sure that the human capital they have is going to see in that technology an enabler and not a disabler. I think that's critical.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Alain.
Thank you. My pleasure.
It was a great pleasure to have you today. Thank you for making time. Thank you for your fantastic advice as well. To our audience, please follow us on Instagram and YouTube and give us some feedback as well. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alain.
Thank you, Vitor. Great to be here.
Same here. Thank you.